We are back. We have got another season of Got Something For You ready to go. But we're not doing this premiere alone because obviously the boys are back, but we do have an extra special guest. And I don't know why we're doing it like this, but why not? Please welcome Mitch from Survivor 48. Mitch, how are you?
I'm doing great, boys. I'm so glad to be here.
We are very excited to have you here for the premiere of Survivor 50. I mean, this is a big season. Matthew, I'm going to go to you first. How are you feeling about 50? How are we feeling about the premiere?
I'm exhausted, Ollie, as you know. This is a crazy month. We not only have 50 and all of the press stuff that has come with that and everything leading up to it, but we also have Australia, which is 3 episodes a week. So I am filling up my life with Survivor, and so far, so good.
I was going to say, it's been a very big week for me and Matthew when it comes to Survivor content. Phil, how are you feeling about the start of Got Something For You for 50?
I mean, I'm stoked. I've been waiting to sit here and talk with the both of you. I showed you guys pre-show the scroll of notes that I have on my phone. It's just been unbelievable. So I'm really excited to get into everything because there is a lot to get into. I mean, that's needless to say.
Yeah, there is a lot to get into, but before we do, Mitch, I've got a question for you. Obviously, being a previous player, how are you feeling about this season? Specifically, that there may be 3 people that you potentially know on this season. So, what's it been like watching Joe, Kyle, and Camilla?
Yeah, honestly, I am so excited about season 50 as someone who grew up watching the show since season 2. I really can't believe we're on 50, but getting to have like 3 of my closest friends that I played with for 24 days who were on this iconic cast is truly unexplainable how excited and anxious I am.
Yeah, season 50 is always going to be we all knew it was going to be a big season, and it's mad to think that it's been 25 years and we've got to this point. Before we get started, I do just want to remind everyone the live chat on YouTube is open because we've got some people, Amy already in the chat saying, "Where's Mitch?" There is Mitch. And Georgia is also in the chat saying hi to everyone. Please leave your thoughts down below as well because we want to know what you think whilst we get started with it all. So let's begin with this very long, iconic intro for 50. We knew that for 50 they were gonna make the epilogue grand, and I hope I've used the right word, or the prologue, whatever it's called.
Prologue.
Thank you. Prologue. I knew I'd said it wrong. Mitch, I want to go to you first. What did you think about kind of the opening?
It was truly one of these moments that you're like, how did we get here? Like, how many iconic moments have we had over the past 50 seasons that have led to this moment right here, where you have some of the biggest players to ever play this game on the beach with some people who just played recently who are also trying to make a name for themselves, and it's crazy to think that we have Coach and Ozzy and Colby and Sari and Stephanie who are back on the beach with players like Q and Tiffany and Camilla and Charlie. It is wild seeing all of these unique people all on the beach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Phil, Matthew, whoever wants to go next, what did you think of this montage?
I just thought Survivor is freaking back. They didn't rush it, which I was nervous about. Like in my head, I was like, okay, 3 hours, it's a premiere. Sure, I heard ahead of time that there's only, one tribal council. So I said, okay, thank God it seems like they're going to give it some breathing room. But it started with this montage. The fact that it was, something like 3 minutes nonstop, just callbacks with interspersed quotes of people that are right in front of us telling us how much this show matters to them, how much this show did for them, and what a special honor it is to be asked back for 50. It had a fan like me, honestly, quite emotional. I remember as I was watching, I was like, oh my God, like this is unreal, just to see all of my favorites, both old and new, and hear them talk about what this game did for them. I was geeking, and it was funny to see other people geeking about one another. It's like legends, not realizing that they are legends, and like geeking about the legends in front of them. I mean, this was just perfect, genuinely perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm totally with Amy in the live chat who said that she loves seeing Keith in there. Absolutely. And, I think seeing this whole thing, it was kind of just a reminder. I think of players like Mitch and everyone who's on this season, but then we see this montage of all these past seasons, just remembering these were just people who decided one day to just audition and they got chosen. And all of a sudden it has led to this giant legacy. Now, I do have to say, I don't mean to be the Simon of this panel. I did think it was just like a little too long. I'm sort of in the camp that this episode did not need to be 3 hours, but that's just me. That's just my opinion.
I disagree. And I'm excited to be disagreeing throughout the entire podcast.
Throughout the entire season.
Let's move forward.
I was going to say that's normally what happens. Them two normally disagree about something. But obviously, just a quick recap of it. We had some really nice moments. We had them talking to Jenna about season 1. Also, we had obviously them shouting out 49. I loved Cerie's moment as well. I do just want to point that out because that was such a powerful moment. But as we all know, it was 3 hours long. So I do want to try and keep it moving because we did have this moment where we started seeing in the hands of the fans, where we found out that they didn't get rice. They have to earn it. Now, do we think the fans voted for this? Because I did see on social media a lot of discourse saying, no, we didn't vote for it. Yeah, I voted for it. So I need to ask you three, as people who were able to vote, unlike myself, did you want them to have rice? Yes or no? Mitch, I'll start with you.
Hell no. The answer is no. If I was out there for 26 days or was supposed to be playing for 26 days, then no, because that's how it's been the last few seasons. So I want all these old school players to get to experience 26 days in the exact same way that we did, where it's like you get out there and you have to earn everything you have. And I feel like we get a lot of slack for it only being 26 days, but when most of these people played, they were given food. So
yeah, that's a very good point. Matthew?
Oh, I didn't care. The rice thing was like so not anything that I was concerned with about me having a voice in. There are so many other areas of the game that I would have loved to have voted on, like for Cambodia, it was vote on the cast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, tribe colors. That was fun. I enjoyed that we got to vote on the tribe colors and things like that. But really, I was just like, I'd like to focus more on the game stuff as opposed to the living situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, we can move on to the challenge now because this was a very good first challenge. It was an ode to the very first Survivor challenge, but new era, like almost new erified. Phil, what did you think about this first challenge?
I thought that it was set up awesome. And just to go back a little bit, I do want to say that I thought that just how close the two votes were surprising to me. For Rice, it was
Mhm.
53% to 47%. That's insane. And you know, they talked about it further. Like, there were other votes that were a lot more wide spanning, but these two votes specifically, whether or not to start with Rice or not, and whether or not to start with supplies, were so marginally close. So that was really exciting to me. The challenge, I loved it. I liked to see someone like Stephanie LaGrossa as like a start, absolutely kick like new era ass, which blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, this like the oldest woman out of the three of them. It was Savannah, it was Camilla, and Steph was the first one out of her obstacle. And I felt like this like really allowed people to highlight their best skill. There were a lot of different hero moments throughout this challenge. I enjoyed it a lot. What about you, Mitch?
Yeah, honestly, I also really enjoyed this challenge because it didn't give anyone a place to hide. Um, and as someone who has played, it's really good seeing what everyone is capable of. I was pretty frustrated with how it ended. I just don't think they, as a team, made a great decision putting some people where they did. But it happens, I guess.
Yeah, well, that is the thing about kind of the marooning challenge, but these kind of challenges in general where everybody has to compete in some way. And it's kind of having to know what your strengths are and pushing back if you feel like you've not been put in the right spot.
Yeah.
Matthew, have you got anything else to comment on this?
Oh, I just thought this was so much fun. And I got the same feeling that I got when I was watching the first challenge of Australia versus the world. Like, seeing all of my favorites on screen, it just felt like I had this moment where I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm watching another season of Survivor with some of my favorite people. And I think like we all sort of experienced that feeling at different points in this episode. For me, it was here. I think Jaden, I like what you said. I mean, it's kind of interesting. You like this challenge. It's awesome. Great idea to bring this back to Borneo if they were to do season 50 all over again, maybe a location change. But I think that this was a really great and appropriate sort of homage to that season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this challenge actually in the end kind of got pretty close. I mean, we saw Kalu at the start very much that they were the ones that had to really pick it up. And then at the end of that final bit, we did see Vatu win and get their flint and a massive bonfire. But that wasn't all that happened. Each tribe had to pick someone to go off on a journey to get camp supplies. Mitch, would you have volunteered for that, or would you have kind of done what others did and went, I think you should go?
Yeah, you never want to volunteer for anything, but especially at the beginning of the game where every moment having conversations are so important. And I thought it was a really smooth move for Jenna, I think, and Tiffany to like tell others like, hey, here you go. Like, that is so smooth.
Yeah, I give Tiffany and Jenna very good points for being, we know exactly who's going to want to do this. Is it ego related? Maybe. If I was on Coach's tribe, I would have turned around and gone, Coach, this seems like something you'd right up your alley. But before we get to that, we do have obviously some tribe dynamics because they didn't go straight to that. They went and looked at everyone else. First, we went to Vatu and we see straight away Stephanie and Colby link up. They get right back to where they were during Heroes versus Villains, and they proposed this for between them two, Genevieve and Kyle. Phil, what did you think of this kind of start for them?
I mean, I thought that it was interesting. I hate that I keep having to go back. There's just so much to talk about. I'm sorry, but like we're passing by the Coach Ozzy like South Pacific rivalry coming back
We
to
will
a head
get
here?
there, don't worry.
No, but like I think that the excitement starts when they get picked. I mean, it's
True.
like it's them being like, oh, okay, coach, you're being picked. I don't think that coach even thought at that point that Ozzy was going to be the person picked and to represent his tribe. But when he was, like, I can just speak for myself. I had a grin genuinely from cheek to cheek. I had butterflies in my stomach. Like, this all felt so special. Like, it really does feel like a disservice just to rush through and be like, oh, yeah, those two got picked. Like, no, it was a huge deal that those two got to continue on. And what made it even more special, and I've heard this said, that this is almost like the best version of a fan, like a fans versus, Jesus, what is it?
Fans versus favorites.
Yes,
Yeah.
fans versus favorite season, because you're watching these new school people who are so new that they're still fanning out. Like,
Yes.
Rizzo is sitting there going, bouncing up and down, going, "Let's go South Pacific!" Like, that type of geek out, like enthusiasm is rich to me, because I'm sitting here doing it the same way in my bedroom. Like, I literally have it written here in my notes, like butterflies in my stomach for Ozzy versus Coach. So cool to see Rizzo doing the same exact thing. Like, he's as geeked as I am. What I will say is that I think that Q joining that threesome was a little funny, and that I'm excited to talk about later, because it does feel like he is truly a third wheel on a date, or rather, better yet, maybe like the child of a couple of on the fringes of divorce. But anyways, now let's move on to the next slide here. Yes, tribe dynamics. It's great to see people like Stephanie and Colby, right? Like, these two have known each other for years, and they're clearly partnering up. And it's awesome to see someone like Colby's admiration for a Kyle, to see things like that. And it's like some of these things feel destined, while others feel so organic and like fresh. And for them all to sort of work together, like, it's exciting. It's really, really exciting to me. What do you think about everything, Mitch?
Yeah, it like literally blew my mind watching like truly like one of my closest buddies like be on the beach with Colby and Stephanie, and like having them just naturally hit it off so well was like, this is actually insane. And just seeing like how close Genevieve and Kyle were already becoming. I felt like it was a really good move for Colby and Stephanie to get with like two players who are maybe two of the best like new era players.
Yeah, that was such a cool dynamic, because you had two old schoolers, two new schoolers, but someone that wasn't necessarily getting on with Colby, maybe, or Colby was feeling a bit irritated by, was Rizzo. This was a really fun dynamic to see, especially when Rizzo was trying to tell Colby how to play this game. And I remember feeling some type of way, because I was like, you're going to tell the person that kind of led this game how to play it. I was like, okay. Matthew, what did you think about this moment? Because I can already see the facial expressions.
This was hilarious. And I thought that it wasn't that I necessarily thought Colby was handling this interaction well, but I also kind of thought it was funny that it didn't seem like Rizzo was necessarily catching on to the body language or reading the room.
Yeah.
I loved this sort of, the edit made it sort of feel like a one-sided rivalry from Colby's perspective, with Rizzo just sort of, fueling that fire. But my jaw was dropped a little bit at this interaction. Rizzo has got a lot of nerve. And you know what? Colby made some really fun television with his confessionals here.
He did.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, do idol in the chat saying Rizzo telling Colby how, I'm assuming how to play the game, was really? Mitch, what did you think about this? Because I will say I haven't got the slide that we see the turnaround, so we can quickly talk about that now, because we do see them in the end kind of turn things around and have a father-son moment.
Yeah, it was really really entertaining, like watching this like old school player who is a icon of this game be talked to by this 24-year-old child who just played a couple of like days ago. Like he literally just played a few days ago, talking to him like, "Hey, I've already done this a few times. Like this is how you should do it." And I'm like, "Oh, Rizzo, buddy, read the freaking room, kid.
Yeah.
Read the room."
Yeah, and I think that was really funny because I think even Colby in a confessional said like, "This kid is my son's age," and so like he could see what was going wrong, but he also was like, "Let's give him a chance. Let's see what happens."
Yeah,
but that's yeah. You go, Mitch.
Yeah, and I just thought it was so cool seeing how Colby's perspective had changed. And he was like, "Hey, like when I was out here for Survivor, the Australian Outback, like I was the exact same age as him." So it was just like really cool to see him like have that very like unique perspective change of like, hey, he is 24, like I'm going to like try and get to understand like his perspective, which was like really exciting. So hopefully we'll get to see like that like continue.
Yeah. I definitely feel like we're going to see that relationship move through this game because they really highlighted this father-son bond, which I'm excited to see how it goes. But we'll move on now to the Kalu tribe, where first of all, Mike White, well, having abs was not on my Survivor 50 bucket list, so we do need to give Mike White a shout out there. But we do start to see with this tribe, it's a bit quieter. And they're kind of trying to suss everyone out. Phil, what did you think about the dynamics first going into this Kalu tribe? Because kind of everyone kind of just focused on how much of a giant Jonathan was.
You're absolutely right. So many confessionals right into this segment were just like, Jonathan is huge. Charlie's like, it's like we have a ninth member of our tribe. They're climbing on, they're asking him, like literally, I think Mike unironically asked, "Hey, Jonathan, are you a giant?" And he responded and goes, "Fee, fi, fo, fum."
Yeah.
And I feel like the next sentence was Mike going, "No, seriously, are you a giant?" Because I feel like they were all like, it was so clear they're in like spectacle of this man. And then, the only thing to sort of, shift focus is Mike White taking his shirt off. And everyone's like, including Jonathan, is like, "Mike, you're freaking ripped yourself. Like, what is this?" I think this tribe's going to be a ton of fun. It was great seeing everything from Chrissy telling Mike White, "Oh, I love White Lotus. I love White Lotus. You know what? I haven't seen season 3 though because I lost my HBO Max subscription." Like it's just like these tiny little moments, and that's why, Matthew, just like to go back to your earlier comment, I think 3 hours is exactly what this premiere needed because we got so much camp life. What's the number one complaint that us even here, right? Superfans always say not enough camp life. And when we're on camps, we're so focused on who's going after who and who's the target. This is the stuff that made this episode honestly feel classic, and I'll say the word timeless. I think that this episode is going to keep up for years to come because there's so much like fun interspersed in character moments for these people, and we don't need to be like, oh, this is who they are. We already know. And so it's more just playing on the fun that we know that they're going to bring. I had a ton of fun watching this tribe for sure. What do you think, Mitch?
Yeah, does anyone know if Mike is single? Because dude is looking yoked as hell right now. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that moment was so entertaining because everybody was hyping up Jonathan so much. And which, like, yeah, he's huge. And then they quickly shifted to Mike and hyped up him for a minute. And then poor Charlie, who is like a pretty athletic dude, is like, holy cow, what am I doing here? Like, I just like really enjoyed that moment.
Yeah, and just before we move on, Phil, to make you feel good, Roy Jolly is back in the chat saying, I can't believe I didn't mind 3 hours either. And also Georgette says, exactly. And yes, Roy, Mitch is making the circuit stay because he was just on the specialist doing power rankings. Don't worry, I watched as well. With this tribe, the first person that was mainly kind of focused on, as we said, was Mike. And I really did enjoy this, getting to see Mike's perspective, because I think everyone kind of thought, like, what's Mike really going to come here and do? And we kind of got to see the start of his strategy where he's like, I'm going to pretend to be the goofy uncle. I'm going to pretend to be the granddad and let them kind of underestimate me again, which is kind of what he did during David versus Goliath. Does anyone have any kind of thoughts on Mike before we move on?
I've got one. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he said in his preseason that he does sometimes get annoyed when he is just spectacled as the White Lotus person. He's got this big name now, and if I'm not mistaken, he said to Mike Bloom that that's something that he's like, oh yeah, it gets weird sometimes. And I found it funny because Tiffany specifically asked him in this segment at one point, does it get weird when everyone is like fanning out over you and the White Lotus? And he goes, oh no, I love it. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, one of two things is happening here. Either one, these people are just doing it in a way that truly does make him feel good, or two, he is just, playing his people pleaser way, the way that he should and needs to in this game. And despite how he feels about it, he's going to tell them, oh no, I love it. Talk to me all about White Lotus. Talk to me all about my holiday lifestyle. I'm here for it. So, I'm not sure which angle he was going for there, which is the truth, but I did notice that. I was like, you know what? I feel like he said something differently just days ago. But I'm loving having Mike White here, honestly. I really, really am.
I think having the White Lotus is sort of a strength for Mike. There's the obvious one that all the fans are like, oh, people are just going to play towards him in order to get on the show and whatever. But I also think that with having something on your resume like the White Lotus or something so public, it automatically gives other people something to talk to you about. So I think by him saying, no, I love it, is automatically creating an environment where people just have something to talk to him about in order to increase his social game.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just for Mitch here. Amy in the chat says, Mike worked with a personal trainer. So that's how we got that. And also Jaden says, just got to appreciate the commitment to get that body good. Like, good job. But obviously we've got another tribe we need to quickly talk about, which is the Sealer tribe. And here, the main thing that starts off with is everyone's looking at the Enigma, also known as Savannah, because everyone kind of knows about everyone else, and they're all going, so Savannah, what's been going on here? And she does openly reveal that she won her season. How do we feel like Savannah did during this kind of initial tribe talk? Because all kind of eyes were on her being the wild card.
Great. She had to. She absolutely had to reveal this. There were two winners also in the game. They are both on other tribes. Everyone's automatically going to assume that she is the winner, and what you don't want, or what I imagine that she wouldn't want to happen, is that it comes out in some other way, right? Like Rizzo tells someone at their camp, somehow it gets across tribes in a journey or something, you know? So I think she absolutely took the proactive approach, and I think it'll benefit her.
Yeah. Mitch, she did mention that she was going to leave some things out, like she's not going to tell them about the 4 individual immunities. Do you think that's smart of her to do?
Yeah, yes, it is very smart of her to do. But I feel like most of the people out there had an inclination on how things went for season 49. However, that happened, I don't know personally, but survivors sometimes have a hard time shutting up. So I felt like some people knew that she was either super competitive but yeah, I thought she handled it as well as she could. Like, I thought she was like very genuine. But I think it's really, really funny that she like had that conversations with Jenna and Sari, who have played multiple times, and she's like, yeah, I just got done playing, and yeah, I won. And I'd just be like, this, how dare you? Like,
Yeah, it's the fact she was sitting next to Sari, who it's like her 6th time playing, and she's like, Sari's probably sat there going, "Cool, you did it on your first try." Isabel also agrees she thinks it was the right thing to do. And there was another one. Jaden says, "Yeah, right choice, but I'd probably be nervous to reveal it to Jenna. If you know, you know, because obviously in All Stars she wanted to go after the winners." But it does seem like her and Jenna have gotten along, because then we get this confessional with Jenna, who is saying it's a bloodbath, and we see her wanting to target Sari. And she does actually go straight to Savannah and Joe, and then also to Christian, also known as Hubicki. Apparently he's now been given his surname title. And she's trying to work her way around getting the vote on Sari. Phil, did you think this was a little too hard, too fast, or did you think this was very new era?
I mean, first and foremost, this confessional was like crazy. I mean, it's like, quintessential Jenna, but like genuinely, this confessional, the intensity in this confessional, especially considering the confessionals that preceded it, right? It was Joe sort of playing narrator, talking about all the different people in his tribe. Everyone's got something special. Like, everyone's bringing something to the table. It's Savannah being like, you know what? I have to reveal this thing. I'm going to be honest with my tribe about this, whatever. And then it's Jenna, like, complete whiplash, like, full-blown tone shift, where she's like, yeah, this is a bloodbath. This is war. I don't know, I don't
Murder
know
row.
anything different. Yeah, right.
Right.
And it's just like, it's wild to realize that a lot of that energy was coming from one person, which was Sari. And so yeah, I do think she played a little bit too fast. I think it's probably needless to say at this point, but I will say that this was quintessential Jenna. So like, it's hard not to have enjoyed it. And like, for what it's worth, if she picked the right person to go after, like, maybe this would have been the exact energy needed to take over the whole tribe and be the person that is sort of creating the pace in the culture. But yeah, this was like genuinely a wild confessional. And I like literally I wrote it down. I was like, this is such whiplash to the prior sort of tone before this confessional. But I loved it. I mean, again, it was like I was in this whole thing.
Yeah, well, you said it there. This is quintessential Jenna. We saw her do it in All Stars, and it worked for her. Like, we saw her like this strategy really work in her benefit. But obviously, we're going to see what happens with this strategy moving forward, because this is not the last time we hear about this. But I feel like it's time to talk about these 3, because they had to go on that journey. Now, obviously, it is Q, Ozzy, and Coach, and what they have to do is get all of their bags for the sticks, make the long pole, and try and get the key. And the first one to get the key across the barrier wins the tribe materials or the tribe supplies. Yes, Phil?
But first, we
Mhm.
see an epic flashback to South Pacific. We get to relive and relight the narrative of these two, the lore. We remind everyone who doesn't know that this has been going on for eons, it seems. And it's just so crazy to see the two of them sort of have this talk that is so overdue. I mean, it's specifically said by the both of them. We really haven't talked since this finale. It's overdue. And it seems like they both ended up on the right side of things. And it's hilarious to know where this ends, you know? I think this is objectively, the greatest journey that we have seen in the new era since journeys have started on this season. I mean, far and away, I would say. And I do think that it is largely stilted by this rivalry being sort of reflamed here. Also, I want to know, I want to be a fly on the wall wherever Sophie was watching this premiere where Ozzy just straight up says out loud, "Yeah, coach, you should have won that game. I'm going to say it right here all these years later." What? And I want to hear what Matthew has to say here, because Matthew, I saw a big reaction on your face. Was that not crazy?
I think it was a little disrespectful. I think it was a little disrespectful. At the same time, when you're in this environment, I don't blame him for saying it. Okay. It's just the fact that it does get televised, and that Sophie, unfortunately, would have to be on the other end of hearing that on TV. I think Sophie's a great winner. And I think that saying, you should have won that season, I do think that there was an element of buttering up that was happening.
Yeah.
And if that's what Ozzy truly believes, that's what Ozzy truly believes. I hope that I do hope that this doesn't open doors for people who might still be upset about that win to go after. So I don't think that would happen, but never say that.
Can you guys tell me off the top of your heads here? I wanted to look it up, but one of y'all might know. Did Sophie win? Didn't she win by one vote? Because I think that might be what it is. If I'm not mistaken, Ozzy voted for Ozzy did not vote for Coach, which is the whole thing. I think that might be what he's saying here. Where if he put his vote on Coach, I believe Coach does win that season. So I think that him saying that is literally him being like, if I can go back, I would have voted for you. But I didn't look it up right now. So I see Matthew getting into it. But that might be where he was coming from. He's like, you should have won that season because Ozzy was the one vote that kept him from $1 million, which is why Coach always says Ozzy kept me from $1 million. But I see Matt shaking his head. So what do you
think it was 630?
Yeah, I thought it was a 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was definitely not as close.
That's an even more wild claim. Because it's not even like I could have moved my vote one other place and you would have won. It's him literally being like, yeah, no, I just think that you should have won.
From what I've heard, I think when Ozzy got voted out and he was at Ponderosa and on the jury, it seemed like he openly advocated against Coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have a feeling like that is how come.
Yeah. I remember him saying in the episode, he definitely was advocating against Coach. And I mean, we'll quickly talk about this and then we'll move on to the actual event because there was something spicy. Isabel says, let's not rewrite the history. Sophie ate Coach up. Ozzy couldn't have done anything for him. And also Jaden says, also never forget Coach versus Aaron. Because do you remember who was the first person that Dragon slayed? Have to remember that. But Mitch, what did you think about this journey? Because obviously the end part, I feel like, is the main part we need to talk about here, where Ozzy, it was taking 45 minutes and Ozzy was like, do you know what? Whoever gets it off that hook deserves it. And Coach actually never technically agreed.
Yeah.
What did you think about this entire interaction?
Yeah, I think it was a great move by Coach. I think he didn't do anything that he shouldn't have done. I think maybe him vocally like telling Ozzy that he like wasn't gonna do that would have been helpful. But yeah, like I think he did exactly what anyone else would have done. So, but I think this challenge was pretty neat.
Yeah,
I
it
agree.
definitely was.
This challenge to me, and to kind of also build off of something Phil said earlier, and I know a lot of people are agreeing with this in the live chat, this was the perfect journey in my eyes, not only from a storytelling perspective, but even the challenge itself was like the right type of challenge to do at the journey. Q looks amazing, by the way. And then to go through and, have this sort of plot twist moment at the end and this continuing storyline going on with Coach ending up taking the thing, which he absolutely needed to do.
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind. I think, it's great television to see Ozzy so upset about it. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know, considering your history and everything, like, I don't feel like you really need to be this upset about this. And also, like, I think Coach Ozzy said something, if I'm misremembering, let me know, but Ozzy said something about like, oh, the old coach is back or whatever. And no, I think Coach did show a new side of who he was, but he also is the same person that he is. It's just like, there's this layer of like humbleness that I noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amy is in the chat actually saying it was not against the rules, and no one wants to go back to their tribe empty-handed.
Yeah.
Certainly not Coach.
I think that was the game.
Yeah. No, exactly. You needed to go over the line, and Coach was like, I'm going to get it over the line, which he did because he was able to get the supplies for his tribe. He did win. And he decided to have a lovely... He got his little boat back. And then Q and Ozzy were sat there going, what have we got to do next? Oh, we've got to stay here for Exile Island. How did we feel about the Exile Island twist coming out of nowhere?
This is what always should have been the penalty for a journey, in my opinion. Or at least introduced far earlier. I think the losing your vote thing, I've never been a fan of for the journeys, but having the penalty of needing to stay away overnight, brilliant. And what a fun reveal that was for all of us fans. I was at Bryce and Wen for the premiere, and I don't think the party had been louder than at this moment.
Yeah. This was like, I agree with Matthew that like there were many other seasons where this would have been great, but where I disagree, I think this is the best reveal for Exile Island being a penalty, because again, it just like it's in the same theme of just 50. I mean, 50 is all of this. It's a celebration of the history of this whole entire show. And the more things that we're able to sort of like, bring into this game from past Survivor. Yeah, I think you're echoing a little bit. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but is great. I was really happy when I saw Exile as well. I was like, wow, this is such a fun callback. I had a thought very early on, are they going to have Edge of Extinction? But when I knew that they weren't, I was hoping that there would be something that would get, cross tribes, together sooner than maybe even a swap. And this is it. And it was really exciting to get the reveal for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I really did love this twist. Roy Jolly's in the chat saying twists should always come out of nowhere. Mitch, do you agree? Did you like this twist?
Yeah, I loved it. I think the fact that they had to do this, like, puts them at a huge disadvantage. I think it would be really hard to do this on a season of brand new people. Like, just because like there are so many conversations that happen when you're out there at the very beginning of the whole game, but I think for a season where everyone kind of already like knows each other, I think this added a great layer.
Mhm.
Yeah, it definitely did. And I mean, I'd love to see how if they were able to incorporate it in a new like all cast season. Maybe
Yeah.
not right at the start.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, they've done it before, right? Like Exile Island is nothing new. So I think
No.
they've been smart about how they've done it with
Yeah.
new players in the past. I think it could work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, one person that's not at Exile Island is Coach, and he gets a hero welcome from everyone. Very happy about how he did. I'm trying to remember what the next slide is. Yes. So he was happy. He told his stuff. But this is the moment I do want to talk about the budding romance people online are saying. The new showmance of Devons and Christian. What did we think about this duo coming into fruition? Did anyone expect them to kind of just get along like a house on fire?
No, but yes. Like as soon as they started interacting, I was like, this is great. And then also, but when like Emily started getting involved, I was like, how did I not see this? In looking
Yeah.
at this tribe, how did I not know that this was going to happen? And it made me very happy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was not too surprised at all that Christian and Rick got along. It did surprise me quite a bit that Rick and Emily got along. Those two felt like they would be at odds. These two not so much, to be honest. This felt sort of right at home. But it was hilarious, one, to see Rick just like openly looking for idols as they're walking and talking, deliberating on what they're going to do. Part of me at first was like, this guy is such a madman. Like, are you kidding me? You're just looking that openly? Like, wouldn't that make Christian sus? But I do think that part of it is I think part of it is actually probably like a little endearing. I mean, that is baked into his character. And for him to be doing that in front of you, you'd probably be like, okay, well, you clearly trust me, which is why you're able to show me this. So it was just a really fun moment. Again, both of them like very in their personal modes that, I think that it makes it great. What they call each other, Spock and the other guy from Star Trek. Very fun. Very fun. I like these two.
The way none of us can remember who the other person was, we
Kirk?
did not watch that.
Yes.
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. There we go. I knew. I knew Matthew.
I'm disappointed. Okay.
I saw your face get disappointed, Matt. That's how I knew you had it.
Sorry, just like Rick Devons, I'm Star Wars. Sorry. I don't know. But no, this duo was really kind of fun to see. And then the extent of Emily joining. And we did get a confessional from Emily saying she never felt like people wanted to work with her. And this is the first time she's seeing people want to work with her. I am very intrigued by this kind of trio that's forming. Mitch, have you got any more kind of words to say on this trio before we move on?
Yeah, I think that this group of three working together moving forward could cause some trouble for a bunch of other people.
Mhm.
I feel like Emily is very outspoken, or that's how she played her past season, and I think Rick is also someone who really sticks out. So it'll be interesting seeing how like both of them move forward with everyone else. I feel like both of them have pretty big personalities, so it'll be interesting just like seeing who else like wants to work with all of them.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, in the chat, you've got Roy Jolly saying this is my favorite trio of the season. And you've also got Amy saying them fawning over each other, best bromance since Dom and Wendell.
That was great.
But this isn't the only kind of alliance we see forming, because this is also on Batu where we see Colby really get with Kyle and then also Genevieve, and those four make their kind of foursome. So what was interesting about this, I haven't got the photo of Genevieve, but Genevieve obviously is feeling very good about this group. She feels like she's got everyone on side, except for maybe Aubrey. This conversation was where we saw the first signs of anyone kind of like switch, like what's going on here? Because this conversation did seem a little tense between both of them. Phil, what did you think about this interaction?
Yeah, this is like the weirdest conversation of the entire episode. Like, despite, Coach and Ozzy's decades plus of beef unspoken, I feel like this for some reason was more tense and awkward, and like I was like, what the heck did she do to you, Aubrey? Like, you would think that before this game, Genevieve like went over and I don't know, like put worms in her yard. Like I don't know. I mean, it's just it felt like there was like genuine like pregame tension here, based on how Aubrey was sort of, approaching or responding to Genevieve here. It was very weird. I don't know where it came from. I really like Aubrey. In fact, I was all upset that she got taken before I got to sort of take her myself in the draft. And after this conversation, I was like, you know what? Maybe everything happens for a reason, because if she plays like this with everyone, I cannot see anything moving for her. But I have a feeling that this is just like quintessential Aubrey, keeping it real. I don't think she's going to be like this with everyone. I think that she is just, for some reason, getting a bad vibe from Genevieve. But it was very, very, very weird. Like, undoubtedly.
Did Genevieve say something about her before
It's so
Genevieve
weird.
season? I don't know. This conversation was really difficult to watch. I mean, there's nothing that Phil didn't already say. But yeah, I did not like this because I like both of them. And so I was sort of hoping that they would see eye to eye. But really, this just feels like Aubrey has shut the door on playing with Genevieve right to her face.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there was anything Genevieve could say that would make Aubrey any more interested in working with her moving forward. And I think that's a shame. I think that Aubrey putting this distance, I mean, it could go either way, right? We don't know about Aubrey's, relationships with everyone else, at least. But I just thought that this was a really poor display.
Yeah, it was definitely an awkward one. I'm very intrigued to see what this dynamic is moving forward, because like we've all kind of said, it was just a weird one. I mean, Amy's in the chat saying what the editors did to Aubrey, OMG. Because it was closer and closer. Just you could tell Aubrey was not like there with it, and it was just. I'm so intrigued to know what's going to happen. But what I am also interested in is what was happening on Exile, because they spent their night. They're there getting ready. The boat comes, and here's the next tribe supplies. Here's what you've got to do, though. One of you has to give up the tribe supplies, but whoever gets this tribe supplies gives their vote to the other person for a secret extra vote. Matthew, you're already giving me a nod and a reaction. What did you think about this?
Jeff has said like the coins in 40 were like the idea of inserting some sort of a survivor currency. And then we had the separate thing moving forward, which was people losing their votes. And to have this sort of mix of the two of them, I'm like, that makes so much sense. It's kind of one of those things where I'm like, how did we not see it before? We've always had like steal votes, which is, the opposite of this. I like what Q said was selling his vote, right? Like it makes so much sense. So I liked it. And I think it really just continued my thought process on this being like a perfect journey.
Yeah, I agree. Mitch, what did you think about this interaction? Would you have sold your vote?
No, I don't think I would have sold it just because on the season I played on, it came and hurt like multiple people. And like, you just can't ever anticipate like what's gonna happen like coming up. And I think just giving away or selling a vote, like it almost like handcuffs you.
Yeah.
And like with so many other things happening, like you just don't wanna like you don't wanna not have control over who's heading home.
Yeah, I don't think I would have sold my vote. I'd have been like, you take the supplies, I want to keep my vote. Because I mean, you said it from your season. If I remember Justin and Bianca,
Yeah.
I would not have wanted to have been in their shoes. But obviously, in the end, Q sells his vote, gets the tribe supplies, and Ozzy gets a secret extra advantage, which could come in useful because back on Sela, Christian has this conversation with Sari to kind of let her know of the possibilities and let her know that, you know, her name's already been thrown out there, which you can kind of see Sari is already like, oh my, really? It's not even been 48 hours and my name's out there. And she makes sure to let Ozzy know. And straight away, without even having a full conversation, we see these two kind of just bond. Phil, what did you think of this moment between kind of Sari and Ozzy? Because last time we saw them, you know, her and Ozzy have never really like properly worked together.
Yeah, I really like this. Once again, these two sort of having this history. We see them sort of like grow from where they came from. Obviously, to your point, and frankly to Cerise's point in the tribal council, very smart of her to bring up. She's like, I voted Ozzy out. Like, we're not close, but they're able to be close here and try their best to obfuscate that. I'm sure we'll get into it. They don't do the best job. But at the same time, I do think that, Ozzy sitting here telling us in confessional, like, Cerise's my number one. Like, I would die on the sword for Cerise in this game. Is definitely like a very different vibe than what he had towards her, maybe in prior seasons. And so I'm excited to see this play out because, typically I'd say something like, I'm excited to see how real this is. But Ozzy just proves by the end of this game that he is being so for real about this. So I'm excited to see how this plays out moving forward.
Yeah, well, Ozzy does say he wants to play different. He wants to play like Oscar, which is very funny to me because if he was going to play like anyone, I thought he was going to change his name to Shambo. But that's just me looking at social media. Mitch, what did you think of this conversation before we move on?
Yeah, it just goes to show you that like genuine relationships in Survivor are so important, and just like having already played before, you like immediately just have this unspoken trust of, hey, like, even if the last time or the past times we played together, like we didn't work together the whole time or whatever, like there's just something about being on the beach with someone you're comfortable with, and I'm excited to see how the two of them are going to like move forward. I think like a lot of people might want to come after both of them because of how close they are. But honestly, I would be willing to work with both of them because when you can find people who are like so closely working together and who have a history of like playing hard with the people they've always like worked with, I just feel it's a huge added advantage.
I completely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I was just thinking having one of your former adversaries in the game coming back probably is your biggest advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the chat are also liking this because Isabel is loving Oscar, and Jaden also sees the character development. And we do see in the other tribes this happening. I want to quickly touch on Kalu before we go to the immunity challenge because we see two things happen. We see Jonathan come into play wanting to work with the old schoolers. He very much sat there and said, I am an old school soul. But then also said, and this is me being a bit spicy just because this made me not like Jonathan, because he then said that new era players are not genuine. So that's why he wanted to work with the old schoolers. And we saw him go to Mike. We saw him go to Coach. We saw him go to Chrissy. Mitch, as a new era player, how does that feel?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes some of the new era players play incredibly hard and are totally able to separate the conversations they have while playing the game and like actually doing it. So I think what he's probably trying to communicate is that some people are just able to play a pretty cut throat game.
Yeah.
And from the first time he played, he really wasn't able to. So I feel like who he is just normally is like pretty old school. So yeah, like I totally understand where he's coming from. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all that happens though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he says he wants to play, he prefers playing old school and he wants to play with more honor and integrity. That's kind of the vibe he wants to go with. Someone that wants nothing to do with honor and integrity, though, is Camilla. Rightfully so. She's got PTSD over it, which I'm sure you
1000%.
might do as well. And this is where we see the new era women of Tiffany, Camilla, and Dee kind of just lock in and go, we love this. We want to be together. Just quick thoughts and feelings. How did we feel about this trio forming? Because they also
I love them.
Yeah, I love them too. Obviously, being a person that loves females, like this, I was happy with this. Matthew or Phil, do you have anything before we move on?
What a trio! This, I mean, it's a dream trio. I love all of these players for different reasons, and I think by these three women combining their powers, I think that's going to be quite a force.
I agree. Definitely.
Yeah. It's interesting to see these three get such little airtime, to be completely honest. And I think it really goes to show how stacked this season is. And again, that's why I say like 3 hours. I think this is perfect for the premiere because they got a little something. But even these three, like by the end of the episode, I asked myself, especially the first time, I was like, oh my God, did we even really see Camilla? Like, I just didn't remember really a scene about her. But watching back, this was sort of the one that we got. But like I definitely want to see what's to come, but we didn't really get too much from them. It was really fun seeing sort of Tiffany and Dee have their again, like very enthusiastic moment, being like, oh my God, I'm excited. I wanted to play with you. But it does worry me that they have not gotten much focus on the tribe.
Yeah.
Or it might mean this tribe isn't going to tribal anytime soon. Hopefully.
Like
that part.
Yeah, I like the optimism. That can definitely be the case.
I would love that. Also, Isabel did dream of this. I dreamt of this too. I'm not going to lie. And Jane says, "Go girls," because why not? But let's move on now to the immunity challenge. Before we do that, I do just need to ask everyone. Oh, I think Mitch has just gone for a second. But I do just want to ask, what did we think about these immunity idols? The roosters, as Jonathan called them, even though they're phoenixes.
I feel like they were like griffins, right? Isn't that like a...
Yeah, I mean, I think they were going for Phoenix, but yeah, I'll take Griffins.
Is that Phoenix?
I think Griffins have 4 legs. If I'm
Yeah,
not
they
mistaken.
do actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, there we go. There we go.
I can't hear y'all right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine, Mitch. Don't worry. Let us know when you can hear us. We will try and get your audio
I
sorted.
mean, definitely say something in the chat because if you can't hear us, you might not be able to hear that, Ollie.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me see what I can do.
Ollie, will you deal with that?
Yep.
I will move on here, take over. So yes, we got our eyes on our immunity idols. I gotta say, I was surprised that this was not a double boot, because that sort of has been the whispers for this whole entire lead up to the season was, oh my God, 24 players, 24 contestants all out there at once. There's gonna be a very aggressive sort of boot order because they have to do it that way. Matthew, were you as surprised as me to notice that, like, oh my God, there's only one tribe going to tribal council tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not in the traditional sense, which, I mean, I was really surprised when I saw what you're right. When they saw the 2 immunity statues, it did kind of change things. I mean, obviously, we did end up getting 2 castaways that were outed this episode, which upsets me. And I have to say, I am curious how this is all going to play out. I expect that we're going to get some sort of a double soon, or maybe there's going to be a double when merge hits or something. But yeah, I really was expecting 2 tribes to go.
Yeah, there absolutely needs to be. But with you, I'm with you. Like, I thought it was going to be on the very first one, to be honest. So I was really pleased that we didn't have that happen. We got to hold on to people for as long as we could. That said, this challenge was sort of very similar to the first one, where there were a lot of sort of like bottleneck points, to use Christian's word, where one person got an opportunity to shine, and if they weren't able to hold up, it was very, very clear that they were the one holding the team back. And I don't know if you have a specific photo for it, Ollie, but obviously in this challenge specifically, it was the legendary, the iconic Suri. Okay, no photo for that, but we all remember what it looked like because we got about 5 or 6 cuts to Suri getting stuck on that point. Mitch, how did you feel seeing Suri sort of in that state for as long as she was?
It was brutal to watch. We had that on one of our immunity challenges, and I heard the reason she felt comfortable doing that one is because she had already done that on whenever she played Survivor Australia. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like it is such a hard part of that challenge that you really have to have a lot of coordination. And if I was her, I would have put myself in a spot where she could have like hid more. But yeah, I was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, I felt bad. I mean, Roy in the chat is saying Jenna said it took 20 minutes. Also, Zan's comment though, she was just trying to lower her threat level. It was a masterful level.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, as tough as it was to watch, and I mean, this whole entire challenge was, from many different angles, was a tough watch. But what I will say is, it's not a tough watch that is like bringing down the episode or even being like, oh, this challenge should not have been in there. They were all like very, honestly, like game affecting and important sort of, moments, because we could bridge this right to Kyle. That is another moment that was so hard to watch, but it was so freaking important. And honestly, I guess, similar to the Suri thing, there's more to this story, right? I'm sure everyone has heard at this point. Kyle made his way up. Colby was the one that was struggling to get up there, and he went down to help Colby up, and then was going up on his own for the second time, and that's when he hurt his leg. It's just tough to see anyone go out like that. And I think that what made it even crazier is that it was, a former winner. Not that obviously there's any true mistake that any of these people are truly, immune or, not able to sort of, get hurt. But like, it's like your former winner getting hurt is a little surprising. Like it definitely was shocking to me.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, Roy in the chat has just said, and to your point, Phil, this challenge gave almost every player a spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to see, because I think even there was a point where Mike White got a bit of Mike White's killing that. Like how, he's able to do that so good. Mitch, you've got something to say?
Yeah. It just goes to show you that playing Survivor is hard. Like he was probably one of the fittest and most in shape like people out there, and he got hurt. So it's like all of these challenges are incredibly hard. So yeah.
It does go to show you could be the fittest person in the world. Survivor will still knock you down.
Yeah.
But it didn't knock him down too much because his tribe, Vatu and Kalu, managed to pull off immunity. I loved the look of this puzzle. It just was very satisfying to me. But it did mean that Seela was the tribe to go to tribal. And we see straight away, they were trying to kind of be like, it's okay, guys. It is what it is. But this shot was really kind of striking because you kind of saw Suri off to the side, very much feeling like she is the reason they lost and why she feels like she's on the bottom and she's going to go home. What did we, because we also, I will say, had a confessional from Suri feeling very much down and out. When we first saw everything that was going down, did we think that it was Suri that was going to go? Because Jenna was the one that was pitching Suri.
I'd also throw Sav in there. I think Savannah was also super outspoken about her disappointment with Suri's performance. I'm always skeptical of the first name that is thrown out during the scramble. In this instance, however, though, I think that there was so much going against Suri. There was the challenge performance, which, was fresh, but also just her legacy, I think really scares people who are playing this game. So I think all of those, all of that involved, things weren't looking great.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, we have this conversation between Jenna and Ozzy where Jenna kind of does call Ozzy's bluff and Ozzy does not react well. And I think it kind of just confirms to Jenna what she's feeling. And she's kind of looking at Ozzy being like, try, because I know you've just confirmed everything. Mitch, I have to know, what did you think about this conversation? Because I mean, Isabel in the chat said this conversation had me crying.
Yeah, it was incredibly uncomfortable. Like it almost kind of reminded me of the Aubrey conversation. It was like how Emily acted the first couple of days when she played on 45. And it's like, hey, have you never seen this show? Like, you can't come across so abrasive. And like, I'm sure like that Jenna had plenty of other conversations with everyone, but
Yeah.
in this moment, this conversation just felt like real uncomfortable. And it just like didn't seem like someone who had played serve Survivor twice.
Yes.
So yeah, it was. I think it also kind of showed maybe how come everyone was okay with voting out Jenna. It felt like in moments she was having these conversations that she was that everything she was saying was like really good points, but how she was saying it wasn't coming across to the people that she was having those conversations with.
Yeah, and we saw everyone, because you made a really great point that she was coming across very abrasive, and you felt like you saw her entire tribe feel like that, which is what got her name out there. Phil, have you got anything to add on this kind of conversation and kind of Jenna's conversations in general before we touch on the last point before Tribal?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'm over here with my freaking, novel of notes. Also trying not to make the podcast go 5 hours as long as the, premiere here. However, yeah, I mean, again, I just think that like this goes to show you that Ozzy absolutely has Cerie's back, but I don't think that Ozzy, is as evolved as he might like to think, because Ozzy really did struggle here in sort of delivering a lie, or even oh yeah, that sounds good, let's see who's on board with it, whatever, saying what he has to say to stall Jenna or placate Jenna.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, like, other people did do that. Again, I have noted from exit interviews, Jenna herself talks about the fact that she was like, oh, I wanted to put things together, but when I went up to Joe and Savannah before Tribal, they told me that they needed a little bit more time, or they were still deciding, whatever. And guess what? That means that they weren't with you, but they couldn't tell you that, so they told you, oh, we're figuring it out. Oh,
yeah.
It's just the sort of like placating is an important part of Survivor. And
Totally.
I don't think Ozzy can do it, because he really sat there. You're right. It was so revealing the way that he was just like, maybe let's think about, like, no, dude, now it's obvious who you're with.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Mitch?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like he couldn't like give her any answer, which is like something you gotta be able to do. Like even if it's not true, or even if there's no possible way, like you gotta figure out like, what can I say right now that maybe lets them think this is an an option, or hey, let me go have some other conversations, something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, because Ozzy made it very obvious that he was Team Suri. He was trying to do everything. And it was Emily that noticed. And Emily, this was the only other conversation we had where Emily kind of goes, well, why don't we just vote out Ozzy? Because then we can keep them two, like Jenna and Suri, beefing.
Yeah.
Matthew, did you think this was going to be the last minute switch? Or did you think this was kind of just another red herring to make the audience think, oh, well, you know?
Well, here's the thing. I was sort of tricked. I got to speak to Jenna and a few other cast members before the premiere happened. And the way that Jenna was talking about the premiere, so excited, it's going to be great. She was promoting the hell out of this season. So going into this tribal, I was like, no way, it's her. So when this idea came up from Emily, first of all, love that Emily came up with an idea like this, because why not? You know, this is the most people that we've had at a first tribal council since what, Winners at War, unless I'm misremembering something. You know, other times it's been 6, now it's 8. We got people to play with.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that Emily was like, we could do something else that might actually benefit us more. So did I think it was the last minute switch? It was possible. But I did think that it was more likely that it was going to be one of the first 2 names that was thrown out.
Yeah.
I'll say, just as someone who, you know, obviously, like Emily, just an absolute like magnet of a contestant and character and personality on the show. So many people flocked to her after her season. But I just want to be, you know, fully transparent when I say that for me, as much as I enjoyed her on the show, I was not someone who was just like, oh my God, Emily. Even when she got on this season, I was like, oh yeah, like I get it. A lot of people liked her, but it was not like I was necessarily, you know, someone who was individually, you know, magnetized to her. This scene here reminded me of why Emily is just like, it is so entertaining. And I get why she has such a big fan base, because even someone like me, who again, I say all these things just to say that I am not the typical Emily Glazer, I found this so like charming by her. And frankly, like it was so obvious to see why people are just obsessed with her, because I think that the answer to your question, Ali, is that this is like a quintessential like Emily, like, oh, I'm going to throw it out like it's a joke, but like I want to see if this gets any real traction. And if it does, I'm going to move on and mobilize on this. And that's exactly what I thought that this was. And frankly, from what the episode told us, that might have been what happened. I mean, she's laughing about this with Rick. I don't think that this was like a real toss. However, we start to see that this little like pebble of an idea did start to grow. And you heard the name of Ozzy being called not from the mouths of Rick and Emily, but from other people. And so I just found this really interesting. And again, I found this very charming for Emily and like fitting in her character. It's like the fun, strategic, you know, down to do this sort of more like, out of the box idea, throw out someone else's name and not afraid to do it. This was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was. And it did lead to a very interesting tribal. I mean, first of all, tribal council set.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous. I sat there and I was like, I'd lose every challenge just to go and see it. It's so pretty.
No,
like,
you wouldn't. It's terrible.
Too far.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe I just sit there and go, can I just come watch? I'll put earplugs in so I don't hear what you're saying, and I'll just blindfold myself for the vote. I just want to see tribal. But obviously we do get to tribal. Has anyone got any takeaways from this tribal council that you think is worth noting?
Yeah, Jeff asking real questions. Shout out, Jeff. I don't know if it is him seeing these old school people in front of him. And look, like, you know, he didn't go fully away from new school Jeff, but it was a perfect blend. Even to the point, I forget, I wish I could remember who exactly said an analogy here, but someone said an analogy, and Jeff goes, okay, what do you mean by that? And didn't just get him off by, or rather didn't just like let him off by being like, oh, okay, you said your analogy, we're going to move on. It's like, no, you said it. Cool, that is fun. But what do you mean by that? dig into it deeper. And I think that he was very direct with his questions to people. Hey, Suri, you blew this challenge. How did it feel going back to your tribe knowing that this happened, right? Like, it was a lot more targeted and deliberate and intentional and less of just like, what's the journey about? It was like, hey, you yourself are in this scenario. Talk to me about it. And I just want to praise Jeff for that big time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Mitch, Matthew, anything you want to mention about this tribal?
Yeah, I thought that Joe, he answered one of the questions really interestingly. He said something about how right before they went to film for 50, like, our season just finished, like on Wednesday, and they flew out for 50 on Monday or Tuesday. So like it was like it had just happened, and I thought he answered a question about like how Kyle and Camilla had just like given him a wedgie, and it like he did a good job of being like, hey, like, just a reminder, like, I just played, and everybody was like playing harder than I was, and like whenever you're at tribal council, like you want to make sure you say stuff that is important and helpful for the conversation, but you don't ever want to like to give like too much info.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there thinking about it. Like I looking back, like Joe did an amazing job this tribal with just being able to be a part of the conversation, but not having his threat level kind of heightened. Yeah. Like you said, they would have just watched Joe play, and the fact that no one was really looking at Joe in light of he's a threat. He did a really good job this episode. Matthew, anything to add? Sorry, before we go.
I mean, well, also there is Savannah sitting right there, who is. They may not have seen her play, but she is the winner, and she has admitted to it. I'm so glad that you said that, Mitch, and brought that up, because not only is it sort of reminding the tribe, here's a reason why I might have lost my last season, but it's also saying Kyle and Camilla. And not overtly. He's not saying, hey, listen, Kyle and Camilla were super close on, my season, and they did this and they tricked everyone and blah, blah, blah. But in a way, it puts their names in everyone's head as Kyle and Camilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I do just want to bring this point up before we think. Jaden, I noticed the old music as well and was loving it. When they did the voting and they remixed the old music, I was like, this is the celebration I've been waiting for. But they do go to vote. And unfortunately, first in, first out, we see Jenna get snuffed. And she is the first person voted out of Survivor 50. Obviously, Jenna is an icon. Like, we needed someone back from Borneo. So I was really sad to see her go home first. I thought, yes, she may have played too hard, but you know what? That's what I love about Jenna. She's always going to be herself. Mitch, Matthew, Phil, any final words for our dearly departed Jenna from the game?
Yeah, I think that she was represented so beautifully. I think that her being a first boot, I mean, she even talked about it in a lot of her exit press. Like, they you know what they do with first boots. There are times where they can make them look very, very stupid, just like not really ready, prepared for the game that they signed up for. But and I think that for what it's worth, the contestant from season 1 and going out first, there was such an avenue where they could have just been like, oh, she was not prepared for this new era game. She doesn't know what Survivor is anymore. But instead, they went for, oh no, like we are going to show her love. We're going to give her flowers.
Yeah.
And we're going to like really take the time to, sit in this like, this really just acknowledge the fact that you are part of what started this whole entire game. So, yeah, I think they did a great job showcasing her game. Even the fact that she, left first, they showed a lot of respect. Which is what 50 is all about. It's 50.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a celebration. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And I was disappointed. I loved her, and also getting the privilege to speak with her before the season 2. I was just like, I just want nothing more than for you to do well on this season.
Yeah.
And, I think they did a good job at sort of tricking the audience a little bit. She was so prominently featured in the pre-show press and the commercials and everything like that. And I really like her energy. And so to see her go out this early and being the first boot, I think it's kind of a reminder of like, nobody's safe, right? Everyone's gonna either get voted out or make it to the end. And someone had to be first. And I was sad to see that it was Jenna. But I would be sad to see all of them, really.
Yeah. It was pretty unfortunate. The original tribe she started off on, I feel like she had an uphill battle from the very beginning. Like there were just a lot of other people that just like genuinely got a long. I felt like she came out and she did exactly what all of us were expecting her to do. She came out, she played hard. I don't think she even played too hard. It's just I don't think she had enough conversations and relationships with the people she played with. So I think it was awesome having her back out there. I hated that she was the first one who had to go. I'm happy that when she got voted off, everybody like stood up. I don't know if they thought they were gonna give her a hug, but that just had to be brutal.
Yeah. And I mean, she's old school. She is an OG. So they realize she's going to go out. She's going to leave. She don't want to hug them.
No.
And I respect her for that.
Yeah. Totally.
But as Jaden says, remind it, she was part of the season that started history. So like, we love you, Jenna. And we're so sorry to see you go. Before we move on, though, I do just want to say Mitch has got some love. Mitch is the most underrated player of 48, sorry. Maybe even the new era from DBO. Sorry, just had to show that love to you there, Mitch.
Thank you.
At this point, though, we would be like, right, the episode's over. But it's not, because we had so much more happening, such as Genevieve finding the Billie Eilish boomerang idol. And what this does is she has to send it to someone else on another tribe. And the twist is, if they get voted out with the idol still in their possession, it gets boomeranged back to her. And obviously, we see that she decides in the end it's going to go to Ozzy. So first of all, Ozzy now has an extra vote and an idol. But what do we think of the Billie Eilish boomerang idol? And what do we think of her giving it to Ozzy, Oscar, Shambo, whatever we're calling him for this season?
I found it really, really cool, honestly. Like, I think that obviously, like, everyone's, giving themselves a headache tiring themselves out on the whole Billie Eilish of it all. The fact that it's got like direct celebrity, connection. But like, leave that aside for a second. This is actually a pretty cool dynamic advantage. And that's another thing, right? They said that this season advantages were going to be dynamic. Everyone said the same thing. They were like, this is so broad. Like, there's sort of a sliding scale here. Like, what are they really going to do? But I think that so far we've actually seen them have like very dynamic advantages. And I think that this is like, exhibit B or C perhaps in the episode. But I think it's really interesting. I'm excited to see it play out. First time seeing it, so I don't know, no real guesses as to like if it was used in its most in its best form here. What I will say, I think that it's best used to like make an alliance later on, and I think that that's what hopefully ends up happening here. But I feel like she used it with the intent to use it on someone that will hopefully get voted off so that she can get it back. But I think that I would also want to sort of use it as a sort of like I don't know, like a friendship token. But I'm not sure. What do you think, Mitch? Like, what do you think the best use of this is?
Yeah, it's hard because you don't know how everyone else is like having conversations on each beach. But yeah, I thought her giving it to Ozzy was an interesting choice because if he makes it deep, if he makes it halfway through, like there is a chance he could have a few immunity challenges. He is able to pull off, and I think with him potentially being able to do that, plus being an idol, like helps him out a lot. I felt like it might have been a better choice to give it to like Camilla or maybe Chrissy or like maybe someone who was probably gonna go home earlier, but I don't know.
Well, that's the thing with this Boomerang Idol. Like, Genevieve's not going to know who is going to go. She's just going to kind of hope. And I know that was part of the reason why she gave it to Ozzy, because he has left before with an idol in his pocket.
True.
So, I mean, that was making me think, does she go for someone from 46? But I feel like if she went for anyone from 46, they'd be like, nope, we're not doing that again.
Totally. We're going to play that shit.
Well, I think anyone who, that's why I don't necessarily agree with it going to Ozzy's, because I think anyone who has had the sting of going home with an idol will definitely try to not do that again. And obviously nothing is whatever, but I don't know. It seems like a risk. I do think that production was maybe banking on someone with a previous relationship in the game finding this in order to make those connections, because Genevieve is, as we know, she's like maybe one of the only people, maybe Jenna, who has no relationships with this cast whatsoever. So this is the only way that she could really play this. But to Phil's point as well, also kind of using it as a friendship necklace, which, by the way, thank goodness this is not a string of beads. I just am so happy that this is not a keychain anymore. This is perfectly beautiful as an immunity idol, and I'm happy with it. So I'm interested to see how the mechanics play out. I'm still not 100% sold, although I think it's an interesting power. The Billie Eilish thing, I don't like. I don't like the celebrity. Sorry, Billie Eilish, you're great. The celebrity thing, I think, really cheapens this overall, and I don't. It's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very intrigued to see how this goes on, but I also am very conscious of time. So I want to move on to the journey because there was another journey. Each tribe had to pick someone to go. You had Savannah from Sela, Mike from Kalu, and Colby from Vatu. And they have a little strat chat. I think it's Mike or Colby. I think it's actually Colby mentions about obviously Ozzy's. Oh no, it might have been Savannah. Sorry, how Ozzy felt about the whole coach thing, but we'll move past that. They then have to pick two people to go and do the challenge. Mike White unfortunately gets the green rock or the non-green rock and has to go back, leaving Savannah and Colby to do this challenge in order to keep their vote. Mitch, you mentioned this earlier, and I can just feel the death glares of Justin and Bianca watching this scene. How did you feel looking at it, knowing that there's a chance someone's losing their vote? I mean, a chance someone is losing their vote.
Yeah, it's hard. And what's really hard about this situation in general is like you can only control so much. So I feel like the fact that it was Colby and Mike and Savannah who went, like it just happened to be Colby and Savannah. But how this current game is set up is like you could really benefit from a journey, or it could also like hurt you. And as someone who has played Survivor, like you gotta be able to get yourself out of hard situations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, with this challenge, obviously in the end, Colby loses, the stack falls, Colby loses his vote, and Savannah keeps her vote, but she also gains something else. She gains a little advantage. My brain's completely forgotten what it is now because we've talked about Survivor so much. It is. Is it a secret extra vote? No, what is it? Mike?
It's a block of vote.
Thank you. This is where my brain goes. I'm not going to lie. I've watched 3 episodes of Australian Survivor and a 3-hour premiere of Survivor 50, so my brain's muddled. But yes, Savannah gets a secret blocker vote. So I'm very intrigued to see how she kind of does moving with this, because she does try to tell her tribe, no, I haven't got anything. I just got to keep my vote. And Rick Devens is like, absolutely not. But I do want to move on to kind of the pinnacle and the final part of this episode, which was Jeff and Dr. Joe coming to see Kyle. Obviously, they do their tests. They're doing all the ultrasound and everything. And in the end, we do see Kyle get medevaced. Mitch, I want to ask you first, because obviously you are very close with Kyle. I think you may have voted for him to maybe win $1 million. What did you think of this moment? And when you saw the boat pull up, and this is kind of a question to everyone as well, we all kind of, did we think this was the end of Kyle's journey?
Yeah, like just having to sit and watch him get hurt in that first immunity challenge, like you could see that he was hurting horribly, and then just like seeing how he was like holding up after like just like no w- w- way to to stay out there. So it sucked. Like it sucked that he was in such a great spot, which is crazy because everyone was like, "Oh my god, the fact that he's coming back out there is stupid. Like he's gonna immediately be voted off." And I was like, "No, like he is such a great survivor player. He's going to be able to get in and like have genuine relationships." So it was just really unfortunate that he was in such a great spot in his tribe and everyone wanted to work with him, and just like seeing him have to go out like that was brutal. And just like seeing how he had to like have those conversations with Jeff and Dr. Joe and everyone on his tribe like was so hard because it's like a huge moment. Like there are only like 24 people out there and like it's season 50 and it just means so much.
Yeah.
So just having to like see him like have that experience, it sucked.
Yeah, it definitely did. Phil, Matthew, any final words for Kyle?
I'm heartbroken. I think Kyle is such a great person. I think he's such a great player. I think the winners that they chose to come back are all capable of making it far in the game, and it's heartbreaking to see anyone's game get cut short in this way. I think it seems like most Survivor players would rather be voted out than have this happen to them. And so I just, it seems like he's doing well now. So that makes me happy and he's taking it on the chin. But this was devastating.
Yeah, especially showing just like his attitude towards the whole thing in terms of him still wanting to like play forward.
Yeah.
Apparently, he argued with Jeff for like 30 minutes about this. It just shows his heart and his love for the game. He wanted to make it up that wall, not only for himself. I truly believe it was for his tribe as well.
Yeah.
He knew good and well that if he did not finish the challenge, they were going to go to tribal, and he wanted to make sure that they didn't. He is just like the poster child for a true team player, and it does not surprise me that he has won this game in the past already, because you saw right here he seemed like he was already perfectly set up, and for someone like him, of his game ability, of his history preceding him, he honestly should not have been as well set up as he was, but he absolutely was, and it just goes to show he's just a different breed in this game. He's an absolute dog, and I'm gonna miss him on this show. He's still alive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you kind of said it there, Phil. The fact that he was able to prove in just one episode why he won 48 is just a testament to his game. The chat is also blowing up quickly. Isabel saying heartbroken. He was the center of the tribe, and she loved the Q and Kyle dynamic. And also, Amy says, I saw an interview with Kyle where he said his strategy was to develop relationships first before playing the game. Excellent player.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, you were amazing, and we are so sorry that this happened to you. Like, Matthew, you said it. I think anyone would rather be voted out than medevac. But so sorry, Kyle. You are the second person to go this season. We've made it through the episode. There is one more thing, though, we have to quickly go through for this show here, which is called The Tribe Has Posted. Yes, it's The Tribe Has Posted. For people that don't know, for this show, we go and look at the social medias to see what's been happening. Now, I know we have been on this podcast for a long while, so I'm going to skip kind of most of it and kind of go to the juicy things. One thing I am going to show, though, is it does seem very fitting, Mitch, that you are kind of a premiere guest for Got Something For You, especially with The Tribe Is Posted, because, I mean, you got a very viral meme from your season. And this week specifically, you have made some headlines because you have apparently had a secret showmance with Say that was revealed in 48. And Stephanie also did say she was surprised to not see you on 50, and there was a lot of reaction from people, and you were clapping back on it.
Sure
so
was.
It's fitting that you came on to Got Something For You for the premiere specifically. It was almost like it was in the cards.
Absolutely.
But heads up, I'm going to quickly go through these first things. There are some watch parties. Aubrey was in Seattle. Chrissy had one. Rick Devons had a tale of two watch parties. I would say go look at all of their Instagrams for all of that. Also, Savannah and Christian. Christian has a lovely photo of his son going, someday he'll watch this.
That is so stinking cute.
Cute.
A lot of times I'm seeing these things for the first time through Ollie. So thank you, Ollie. That is so cute. Oh my God.
Cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
Proceed. Sorry.
Then, some more things. You've got Sari and Coach highlighting their things. This one from Joe, it's actually showing his shoes that his wife got him that were half 50, half 48. And I thought Mitch would like that, seeing that, because there was some 48 representation. And then some more things we've got from Vatu. There were celebrations. You've got Kalu as well. More Kalu, literally. Here's where I wanted to get to, because we had a couple of things here which I felt were a little bit juicy. Jenna showing her secret scene, saying it was close to being Aussie. It was very close for Aussie being voted out. And then Rick Devons screenshotted an exit interview that Jenna did. And he says, I think there's a big difference between playing hard, establishing relationships, which the rest of Seela did, and playing hard, throwing out names, which only Jenna did before losing the immunity challenge. She also came into this biatch way late in the process. So he was kind of clapping back at what Jenna had to say. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes. And then these two things I also found on social media. Angelina reposted a video from an interview letting her know that apparently production offered her Natalie's jacket, which I thought would have been so funny to see her come onto the beach wearing Natalie's jacket. And then I think we're all looking at the one on the right, which is talking about the very compromising position that Mr. Quintavious was in, bringing back his very big mistake catchphrase. I saw this on X and I was like, yeah, this is going in. And then two more ones. It is Jenna talking about her exit. Cake was her therapy, and she's also putting a hex on her tribe. I will say go to Jenna's Facebook, Instagram, everything. She is letting us all know how she's doing, and it's so great to see. And then also Kyle. Kyle gave a post on Instagram about his time, and then he also posted a reel saying, basically talking about how he tore his Achilles heel on national TV, but all people keep looking at is a peach of his. I don't know what that peach could be, but viewers can know what
it's
that
his
peach
butt.
is.
It's his butt, Ollie.
I know.
Talking about his butt.
I feel this isn't the first time that Kyle has been objectified on social media. I think back to Thomas from 48. But we're now going to go to the polls. This is what I wanted to quickly get to. For those of you that don't know, we post polls on our X at Survivor Now Pod that you, the fans, get to vote on. And we share the results here on our Sunday show. So the first one was, did the fans really vote not to give castaways rice and supplies? So yes, make them earn it. No, let them have rice. I can't remember my vote. And Jeff made this decision. Phil, what do you think the majority said?
I think yes, make them earn it. That's what we saw after all.
Okay, Mitch, what do you think majority said?
Yes, absolutely.
And Matthew?
They said yes.
None of you are in the majority. Not 36% said no, let them have rice. It was a very close vote, though. You can see the numbers 36, 32, 27.
People are rewriting history.
Yeah, they literally didn't. They didn't.
I had to ask the question because I do remember the discourse on social media I saw. The next one was, would you have taken that key during the challenge or the journey if you had the chance? Yes, I want the supplies. No honor and integrity. I wouldn't be competing.
Big
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be competing. I'm not going to lie. That's the one I would have chosen. But you're right. 77%. Yes, I want those supplies. And then the final poll we had was, should they stop with the involuntary losing of votes during journeys? Yes, people should know. No, it's great TV. Or maybe depends when.
I'm going to go maybe depends when, because I actually felt like
Okay.
it was more entertaining in this episode. But I'd love to see what happens here.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
also like the way in which I think is really important.
Okay. Mitch, what do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe depends when.
Okay.
I think it would be like really interesting to maybe give people the choice. Like, if you choose not to compete, it automatically goes to the other person, or yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I can confirm that once again, none of you are in the majority because 75% said yes, people should know. But that's the thing, that this is what the fans are saying. So it's only the fans and some people that love to have an opinion. But that was the tribe has posted. A reminder, everyone, we will do this every week. Make sure to check out X at Survivor Now Pod, where our questions and polls will be posted. But we've managed to make it through. We've just gotten under to 2 hours of this.
Wow.
So first of all, thank you everyone for sticking with us and joining us. Mitch, thank you once again for coming to join us. Before you go, is there anything you'd like to plug? Is there anything you're doing? What can we expect from you?
Yeah, first of all, thank y'all so much for having me out on the podcast. It was great chatting with y'all and talking about season 50 and Survivor, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love this show. But yeah, honestly, not much is happening for me. I am like working at school still. Things are pretty hectic over the next few weeks as we head into spring break. And then I got a couple more weeks and then I'm on summer break. So just super excited to continue to support everyone on season 50. A good reminder for everyone listening. This is a reality show. These are real people. Like, all of these people sacrifice a lot of things to go out and play. And I would just encourage all the viewers at home to hype up season 50. If you guys are excited about having a returning player season, hype it up so it happens more often. It's been a good amount of time. Hopefully we don't have to wait another 10 seasons for it to happen again.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Mitch. Like, everything you could have, no one could have said it better. So thank you for that.
Ooh, I've got a
Yes,
question
Phil?
for you, Mitch.
Yeah.
Any live shows people can expect to see you at? For 50?
Yeah, I might make it to Oklahoma City in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I gotta figure out something with that, and then I will be at Bryce and Wendell in Austin, Texas, the first
Ooh.
week in May. And I will be in LA for the season finale, whether that is watching it somewhere in LA with all of you guys and the fans, or hopefully in the audience, to be honest.
True.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I think you deserve that. But thank you, Mitch. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Just a reminder, I just need to plug this. If you did enjoy this podcast, remember to like it because it helps us, and subscribe to Survivor Now podcast because we've got so much content coming up. Got so many shows on Survivor 50, but also Survivor AU. Myself, Matthew, Cara, and Bruce have got all the recaps going on there. You will see week 2 of coverage of that coming up, and all the stuff that's coming up next week for Survivor 50. But for now, we're going to go chill. We've all earned it. But we will see you guys next week for episode 2 of Got Something For You.